In this episode, witness the tale of riders chasing the ever-elusive sea of clouds, across mountains and more mountains, through cold winds, angry fog, and roads that may or may not be real. Do they find the legendary sea of clouds, or just a foggy prank from the weather gods? This is an uphill battle between hope and altitude. Let the adventure begin. Here we are, yet again, another day. Another ridiculous adventure. It's 5 a.m. Dawn is gently breaking. And so are the riders, breaking the silence and peace. Roaring into the mountains, for they have heard rumors, legends of a place so high it looks down on clouds like a smug weather god. To see the mythical sea of clouds, you must arrive at dawn. Not a second later. No snooze buttons and no excuses. They arrived 5 minutes late. Our caffeine-deprived explorers ascend fast, focused and freezing. As they climb higher, the world begins to unfold. And then, a curious sight, a wall, a sacred totem of modern explorers. These are the marks of those who came before. What's this? Other adventurers. They have been beaten to the peak by other people with better alarm clocks. If only they hadn't hit that snooze button. A few minutes later, they arrive at the top of the world. Or at least, the top of this world. They look out, expecting the sea of clouds. But instead, no sea, nor clouds. Just mountains, hills, fields, layered like a giant, very green lasagna. A full 360-degree view. As the sun went up, our riders went down. And yes, they wore their helmets all the way up, because if they didn't, their heads would have turned into frozen dumplings. Because the air up the mountain was cold, aggressive, and moody, like it hadn't had coffee yet. They retraced their steps back down the mountain, awkwardly posed next to 2 stone men. Then down they go, past the terraces stacked like green wedding cakes, past the cabbage fields, row after row, past the path that dares to call itself a road. The descent is quiet, peaceful and bumpy. and the sun is trying to start a staring contest. They push on, deeper into the mountains, still looking for the sea of clouds. They stopped at a view deck along the road to see the rising sun at the east. It illuminated not a sea of clouds, but the shore, mimicking the waves of the sea, curling gently over mountain tops like they're on vacation. Excited, our riders plan their way up those mountains to reach the peak. For if there is the shore of clouds, there'll most definitely be a sea of clouds. So they get back on their noble steeds. They tail behind a massive truck carrying a mountain of chicken manure for the farms. It had a scent so powerful, it bypassed their helmets, their dignity, and went straight to their souls. And in that moment they realized, nature is not always flowers and pine trees. Sometimes it's chicken poop at 30 kilometers per hour. Our riders today are joined by their friends. 2 more brave souls join the mission. A third bike, triple the noise and triple the chaos. They ride in formation, like Avengers on a budget, if the Avengers wore jackets and forgot to stretch. The mountains stretch out ahead. They follow the sexy road, looking for the next turn towards east. Some of the clouds are already climbing, saying goodbye, floating aloof like they've just gone through a messy breakup, drifting away dramatically, saying it's not you, it's altitude. So the mountains are left behind, ghosted and lonely, while the clouds drift far away, unbothered, unreachable, and emotionally unavailable. It's just the pine trees, the wind, and some very awkward post-breakup air. Then, just as all hope seemed lost, hidden just beyond these stoic pine trees, another view at the west unfolds. A few shy clouds linger, draped low on the mountains like a lazy river. Not a sea of clouds, but a river of clouds. Not quite the grand drama they hoped for, but enough to make them pause. And so, our riders mount their trusty steeds once more determined than ever. The next stop is the highest peak in the entire country's highway system. And maybe, just maybe, the elusive sea of clouds will finally decide to show up. They pass by more farms, more mountains, and a river down below. Then it begins again. The climb, up and up the mountain, twisting, rising, like they've taken a wrong turn, and accidentally headed for heaven. The air is getting thinner. The views are getting wider. And the road is getting steeper. Their noble, overworked, slightly wheezing machine carries on. Huffing, puffing, but climbing like a champ. Each turn reveals new heights and new warnings, because some parts of the mountain, well, they've had enough. Some slopes have simply given up on life. So now our riders ride carefully, one eye on the road, the other scanning the cliffs above, in case the rocks decided to participate in their journey. Near the top, the clouds begin to gather. Not high and snooty like before, these clouds are low, dramatic, and finally willing to mingle. Could this be it? Could our riders finally get their sea of clouds? The view ahead grows more promising with every meter. Could this be the moment they have been chasing all morning? However, just as they thought that all that ride was worth it, the clouds that they had longed for met them along the way. They showed up, uninvited, unruly, and they brought back up. No other than the rain. Our riders come to a halt, not because they want to, but because visibility is now measured in inches. But they've come this far, so they have to see it through. And maybe, just maybe, a clearing waits at the top. And so they twist the throttle, squint into the grey abyss. Through the fog and the drizzle, through every ounce of common sense that told them to turn around, and at last they reached the top. This is the highest road elevation in the entire Philippine highway system. A place of legends, of breathtaking views. But today, a place of nothing. Just a soggy forest, dripping trees, and the haunting scent of wet pine and broken dreams. This wasn't the view they imagined. This is not a sea of clouds, but an avalanche. They stared at the moss, and the moss stared back. Unnerved, mildly creeped out, and still very cold, our riders did what any sane adventurer would do. They geared up, turned around, and began their descent. Not toward a sea of clouds, but toward warmth, dryness, and maybe a snack. And so down they go. Back through the curves, the cold, and the cloud that looks like soup, in search of actual soup. The fog wraps itself around them, clingy like an ex who can't let go. It covers their path, as if saying, you came for the clouds, and now you're part of them. But our riders pushed through, for they had enough cuddling for one day. And so they twist the throttle, through the mist, through the drama, and back toward daylight, dry roads and revenge, in the form of hot coffee and a sizzling sizig plate. they have stumbled upon a humble roadside eatery with servings enough to replenish their strength for the long way back. And of course, not only do they need replenishing, but also their noble steeds. Refueled, recharged, they continue on. The clouds have lifted. Now the view is clear. And just when they thought their story had ended, Google, in its infinite wisdom, offers a shortcut. A promising blue line that leads to another tire path. Narrow, winding, and questionable. And so, our riders have found themselves once again lost in the mountains. Will they turn around? Will they make it back? Or will someone finally ask for directions? Stay tuned for the next episode.
I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'm tired of my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right, and see life do what you want. So give me all the scars, I'm a human being. Cover them with tattoos so you can't see. Knew it from the start, you had problems with me and the things I could be, I just wish I had seen. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money